Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down chapter 142, Skull and Cherry Blossoms.
In this chapter, this is one of those moments where the world of One Piece just cracks wide open.
Right? We're in the middle of this deeply personal Chopper backstory, and then Oda just casually drops a flashback that recontextualizes the entire global political landscape. It's like you're reading a personal diary and you flip a page and it's suddenly a top-secret government briefing.
It's a classic Oda technique, using the intimate to introduce the epic. We get our first real look at the Levely, the Council of Kings, and with it, a warning about a man named Dragon that is going to echo for hundreds of chapters.
It is an absolute bomb drop. If you want to make sure you're here with us as we piece together every single clue Oda leaves, maybe plant a little cherry tree of your own and hit that subscribe button. It's the only cure for missing an episode.
A bit dramatic.
This chapter earned it. Let's get into it.
So we open 3 days after Hiriluk finds Chopper, and he discovers the little reindeer can talk.
Which is a huge deal, but Chopper was hiding it. He tells Hiriluk that the last time he spoke to humans, they shot him. That just breaks your heart right out of the gate. Think about that for a second. His first attempt at connection, at bridging the gap between what he is and what they are, was met with lethal force. He learned the most brutal lesson. Your voice is a threat.
It frames his isolation not just as a result of his appearance, but of his very nature. The devil fruit gave him intelligence and speech, but in this environment, those gifts only made him more of a monster in their eyes. A beast is one thing, but a beast that can think and speak like a person is an aberration they can't comprehend.
But Hiriluk, in his perfectly unbothered way, just sees it as a fantastic discovery. He's not scared at all. He's delighted. He leans in, his eyes wide with wonder. He's a doctor, a scientist. A talking reindeer isn't a monster. It's a miracle of biology. It's beautiful.
It's the purest form of scientific curiosity, untainted by prejudice. He represents the pursuit of knowledge and understanding, whereas the villagers represent the fear of the unknown. Hiriluk's acceptance is the first dose of medicine Chopper truly receives.
Of course he is. He's a man of science and miracles. A talking reindeer is just another wonder of the world. And then his lab explodes, as it does. It's such a perfect running gag. It establishes him as this chaotic, well-meaning failure. He's trying so hard to create cures, but he just keeps blowing things up. It makes him so much more lovable.
A recurring theme. They evacuate, and Hiriluk's first concern is that Chopper's okay. Not his research, not his home, which is currently on fire. His first thought is for the well-being of this creature he just met.
And in that moment, seeing him safe, he gives him his name, Tony Chopper, because his horns are strong enough to chop down a tree. It's so simple, so perfect. It's not a name based on him being a monster, it's based on his strength. Hiriluk looked at this kid who had been hunted and cast out, and the first thing he did was find something to praise.
He's affirming a positive trait, giving him an identity beyond being an outcast. Before this, Chopper's identity was defined by others. His reindeer family called him an outcast for his blue nose. The humans called him a monster for his hybrid form. Hiriluk is the first person to give him a name that is his own, rooted in his own inherent quality. Chopper immediately loves it. It's the first time he's been given an identity that isn't just the monster.
It's the foundation of everything. You can see the little guy just light up. He has a name. He has a person. His whole world just recalibrated in that single instant. The simple act of being named by someone who cares is transformative.
And then we cut sharply away from that warmth, down the mountain to Wapol.
Ugh, this guy. He's riding down, literally just thinking out loud about what new oppressive laws he can make up. You can just picture him thinking something like, maybe I'll make it illegal to look happy. The contrast is just immediate and brutal. We go from a scene of pure empathy and connection to one of pure selfish narcissism.
It's a classic Oda technique, using the intimate to introduce the epic. We get our first real look at the Levely, the Council of Kings, and with it, a warning about a man named Dragon that is going to echo for hundreds of chapters.
It is an absolute bomb drop. If you want to make sure you're here with us as we piece together every single clue Oda leaves, maybe plant a little cherry tree of your own and hit that subscribe button. It's the only cure for missing an episode. Not even close. You can see it on his face. The art is so good here. Wapol, Chess, and Kuramarimo are all smug, smiling, cruel. Dalton's face is a mask of stoic concern. He's been to the Levely, the World Conference, and he saw something that changed him. He's questioning everything.
He brings up the inequality in the kingdom, how the royals are hoarding everything while the people suffer. He's testing the waters, trying to see if there's any reason or empathy in the men he serves.
And Chess and Kuramarimo just brush it off completely. Stricter ruling is for the good of the country. The classic bootlicker excuse. They have zero empathy. They are the bureaucratic evil that enables tyrants like Wapol. They're not just following orders. They believe in the oppressive system because it benefits them.
This is what prompts the flashback. Dalton tells them about a girl he met at the Levely and were suddenly in Mary Geos.
The Holy Land, the center of the world government, and we're at the Levely. This is a massive lore drop. Oda just casually introduces the single most important political event in the world. For over 100 chapters, we've been on a micro level, island-to-island adventure. This is the first time Oda zooms all the way out and shows us the world stage.
It happens every 4 years. All the kings of the affiliated nations meet. It's the One Piece equivalent of the United Nations General Assembly, but with far more direct power. And the first thing we hear discussed is a warning from King Thalassa Lucas.
And what a warning. He holds up a picture of Monkey D. Dragon and says that in 5 or 6 years, his ideology will be a great threat to the world, a threat to their world specifically, the world of kings and nobles.
This is monumental. We've seen Dragon save Luffy in Logtown, but we had no idea about the scale of his movement. He was just this mysterious, powerful guy with a cool tattoo. Now we learn he's the future leader of a global revolutionary movement. This isn't just some small rebellion. The kings of the world are being warned about him years in advance. This retroactively makes his appearance in Logtown even more significant. He wasn't just passing through. I think he was likely there for a reason, observing his son from the shadows.
And Wapol's reaction is to just blow him off. He literally yawns. He says it's got nothing to do with his country. The sheer arrogance and short-sightedness is staggering. This is a threat to the entire world structure, the very system that gives him his power, and he just doesn't care. He embodies that selfish, isolationist mindset that allows evil to fester. Not my problem.
He's immediately reprimanded by another king, King Cobra of Arabasta, and this is a very deliberate choice by Oda. He's setting up the next major saga by introducing us to its central, noble figure.
Cobra. We're about to go to Arabasta, and here's our first real introduction to its king, and he's a proper king. He calls Wapol out for his selfishness, for not thinking about the collective good. The difference between these two rulers is night and day. Cobra represents a lineage of true royalty, a family that has protected their country for generations. Wapol is a petty tyrant who inherited his position and sees it only as a means to serve himself. This single interaction tells us everything we need to know about the political landscape of the Grand Line. It's not a monolith. It's a collection of nations led by men as noble as Cobra and as vile as Wapol.
And this is where it gets ugly. After the meeting, Wapol deliberately bumps into Cobra's young daughter. He couldn't win the political argument, so he resorts to petty, physical bullying of a child. It's pathetic.
Princess Vivi, it's her. She's just a little kid here, but you can already see the person she's going to become. Wapol, being the petty, vindictive child that he is, hits her and pretends it was an accident. He doesn't just bump her, he walks right into her, knocks her to the ground, and then has the audacity to blame her for getting in his way. The level of entitlement is off the charts.
Igaram, her protector, is rightfully enraged. He's ready to draw his weapon. This could have become a serious international incident, an attack on a royal, even a perceived one, in the Holy Land of Mary Geos. That's grounds for war. You can feel the tensions spike in these panels.
But Vivi stops him. This little girl who was just struck by a king apologizes. She takes the blame. She de-escalates the entire situation to protect her kingdom and her people from the fallout. She's thinking 10 steps ahead. She knows Wapol is an idiot and a brute, and that rising to his bait will only cause problems for her father and her country.
It's an unbelievable display of poise and maturity. She understands the stakes in a way Wapol, a grown man and a king, simply cannot. This single action is a masterclass in diplomacy. She sacrifices her own pride and dignity in that moment for the sake of peace. It's the definition of leadership.
Dalton is watching all of this, and you can just see his respect for her solidifying in that instant. His face says it all. He's in awe. This is what royalty should be. This is leadership. He looks from this small, composed, selfless girl to his own blustering, selfish king, and the gears in his head just start turning. The comparison is damning.
And this comes the gut punch. He turns the corner and overhears her, now alone with Igaram, finally letting herself cry. She's not a robot. She's a child.
Oh man, it just shows you how much it cost her. She put on that brave face for her country, but she's still just a child who was hurt and scared. The apology wasn't because she wasn't hurt. It was in spite of the fact that she was. And that's the moment that completely breaks Dalton. He sees true strength in her and only weakness and tyranny in his own king. That quiet sob is louder than any of Wapol's shouting.
It's the seed of his own rebellion. He returns to Drum Kingdom a changed man, completely disillusioned with the king he's supposed to protect. He saw what a true leader could be, and now he can't unsee the fraud that he serves.
And back in the present, Chess and Kuramarimoto's reaction to this story is just as disgusting as Wapol's actions. Don't mix emotions with policy. They see Vivi's compassion and Dalton's empathy as a weakness. They completely miss the point. They see her tears as proof she was just a child, not as proof of her strength in holding them back.
It solidifies the moral decay at the heart of the Drum Kingdom's leadership. They are fundamentally broken. Their philosophy is that power is the only thing that matters, and empathy is a liability. It's a cold, cynical worldview that directly opposes everything One Piece stands for.
Which brings us back to Hiriluk, the perfect contrast. As Dalton finishes his story about a corrupt kingdom, we cut back to Hiriluk teaching Chopper about the nature of corruption itself. He's talking to Chopper, telling him not to hate the people who cast him out.
He says they have a sickness of the heart. This is such a profound concept for a shonen manga. The greatest ills of society aren't monsters or villains with superpowers. They're diseases of the soul, fear, prejudice, greed.
And that right there is the thesis of this entire arc. The problem on Drum Island isn't just a lack of doctors. It's a spiritual poison that Wapol has spread. Fear, selfishness, despair. That's the disease Hiriluk is trying to cure. He's not just a medical doctor. He's trying to be a spiritual one for an entire country.
He tells Chopper a story to illustrate his point. A thief from a faraway land also with a heart ailment that no doctor could fix. This isn't just a random parable. It seems pretty clear Hiriluk is telling Chopper his own backstory. He's admitting that he too was once sick in the heart.
The thief wandered until he came to a mountain and saw a sky full of cherry blossoms. And just seeing that beautiful, impossible sight, it cured him. His heart was healed. It's such a poetic idea that a moment of pure, unadulterated awe can literally shock your system back into a state of health. It's about finding something bigger than your own suffering.
It's a beautiful metaphor. Hiriluk believes that the cure for the country's soul isn't medicine, but a miracle. A moment of pure awe and beauty that can shock the heart back to life. He's trying to create a national psychological cure. It's an incredibly ambitious and romantic idea.
He believes no disease is incurable, and that's when he unveils his flag, the Jolly Roger. But it's not a pirate flag. He's taking the most feared symbol on the seas and completely redefining it. It's his declaration of war against disease. For me, the way I see it, the skull must represent poison, a symbol of fighting back, of acknowledging the danger. And the cherry blossom petals are the cure, the miracle.
He calls it a symbol of faith, a symbol of the impossible. It's a perfect distillation of his character. He's a quack doctor who can't make a proper medicine to save his life, but he has this unshakable faith in the power of the human spirit. The flag isn't for piracy, it's for belief itself. He's not a pirate trying to conquer. He's a doctor trying to heal an entire nation's spirit.
He even tells Chopper to use it as inspiration, to one day go out to sea and see how small his own problems are in the grand scheme of things. He's already thinking about Chopper's future, about a world for him beyond this island. It's the same thing Shanks did for Luffy. It's that call to adventure, the promise of a world so vast it can heal any wound by showing you how much more there is to live for.
It's a complete redefinition of what that symbol can mean. For Luffy, it means freedom. For Hiriluk, it means salvation. Oda is showing us that symbols only have the meaning we imbue them with. It's a powerful statement.
So then we get this montage of them trying to be doctors together, and it's just pure gold. They try to give a guy lizard eyes as medicine and get chased out of town. It's this dose of levity we desperately need after all the heavy political and emotional stuff.
It's a bit of levity after some very heavy scenes, but it also reinforces how utterly rejected they are by society. No one trusts them. No one wants their help. They're outcasts together, and that shared experience is what forges their bond into something unbreakable.
And Hiriluk kicks Chopper into the mob to use him as a decoy. It's horrible, but also so in character. A desperate, chaotic, but ultimately harmless plan. He's not a perfect man. He's a scoundrel, a charlatan, but his heart is in the right place, even when his methods are questionable.
Chopper is furious, of course. He comes back to the house angry after nearly dying. He has every right to be. He was used, endangered, and is probably covered in bruises. It's a real human moment of conflict between them.
But Hiriluk, instead of just apologizing, gives him a gift, the pink top hat, Chopper's hat. This is the moment, the hat that will become his most defining feature, a gift from his father figure. Like Luffy's straw hat, it's not just an accessory, it's an heirloom. It represents an inherited will, a promise, a deep bond of love. And it just immediately diffuses all of Chopper's anger. He tears up. It's such a simple, powerful gesture of affection and apology. The hat is their bond, made real. It says, I'm sorry, I was a fool, but you're important to me. And Chopper understands that immediately.
And this bond lasts for a year. We see them doing everything together. Studying, eating, experimenting. They become a family.
A weird, explosive, constantly on the run family, but a family nonetheless. Chopper is finally cured of his physical wounds. He's found a home. He's smiling. He's learning. He's happy for the first time in his life. Oda gives us this beautiful, warm montage to make sure we understand the depth of their connection.
Which makes the final scene of this chapter so devastating. It's a calculated move by the author to lull us into a sense of comfort before pulling the rug out.
It is an absolute haymaker to the heart. Out of nowhere, Hiriluk just tells Chopper to get out. He kicks him out of the house. The tonal shift is whiplash-inducing. One panel, they're a happy family. The next, Hiriluk's face is a cold mask.
Chopper is begging, pleading to stay. He doesn't understand what's happening. This is the only person who has ever shown him kindness. He's terrified of losing the only home he's ever known. His worst fear is coming true, being abandoned again.
And Hiriluk pulls a gun on him. He shoots at him, yelling at him to leave and never come back. It is brutal. It's a complete betrayal from Chopper's perspective. Hiriluk is using the very thing Chopper fears most, human violence, against him. He's intentionally triggering Chopper's deepest trauma to make him leave.
You feel his world just shattering. He runs away terrified and heartbroken. The panels here are so effective, just showing Chopper's panicked face as he flees into the snow, the sound of the gunshot echoing behind him.
But then the camera stays on Hiriluk. He collapses to his knees, sobbing. He begs Chopper to forgive him, and in that one moment, the entire scene flips on its head.
And you realize it immediately. This isn't an act of cruelty, it's an act of love, a desperate, painful act of protection. The cruelty was a performance, and it cost him everything.
He's pushing Chopper away for his own good. Something terrible is coming, and he knows it. He'd rather have Chopper hate him and be safe than love him and be in danger. Bro, that is the heaviest thing. To willingly become the villain in your loved one's story just to keep them safe, that's a level of sacrifice that just floors you. It's the ultimate act of parental love.
It's one of the most tragic and selfless things we've seen a character do. He's intentionally breaking Chopper's heart to save his life. The pain on his face as he weeps in the snow tells us how much it destroyed him to do it.
This entire chapter is a masterclass in emotional whiplash, from the global politics of the Levely to the intimate tragedy of a father pushing away his son. Just, wow. I need a minute. That last page is a masterpiece of tragic storytelling.
What an absolutely gut-wrenching place to leave us.
Seriously, the weight of that last scene is immense. If a chapter like this gets you thinking about all the hidden motivations and sacrifices in this story, drop a comment and let us know what moment hit you the hardest.
Okay, predictions for chapter 143. I'll start.
Go for it.
I start. Hiriluk is dying. That's the clear implication. The reason he pushed Chopper away is because he's sick. He has been this whole time, which recontextualizes his entire quest for a miracle cure. He hasn't found a cure for himself, his time is running out, and he doesn't want Chopper to have to watch him die or be caught in whatever comes next.
Oh, 100%. My first prediction piggybacks off that. Chopper is going to misunderstand completely. From his perspective, he was just violently rejected. He'll think Hiriluk kicked him out because he's still sick, or because he's not a good enough doctor's assistant, or maybe he thinks Hiriluk is finally disgusted by him like everyone else. He won't assume it was an act of love.
So he'll try to find a cure for Hiriluk to earn his way back. He'll overhear something, maybe from Korea, or see Hiriluk collapse, and he'll put 2 and 2 together and get 5. He'll think, if I can just cure him, he'll love me again.
Exactly. He's going to go on a quest for some legendary miracle cure, probably a special kind of mushroom from a book, and it's going to end in tragedy. He's going to try to save the man who already saved him, and because he's still just a kid learning medicine, he's going to make a terrible, heartbreaking mistake.
That feels horribly plausible. My second prediction, we're going to see the direct consequences of Dalton's change of heart. That flashback wasn't just for our benefit. It was a story he was telling to Chess and Kuro Marimo. They now know he's disloyal. I think Wapol is going to command him to do something truly heinous, perhaps round up the remaining independent doctors, including Hiriluk, and Dalton will refuse. This is where his open rebellion begins.
I like that. The tension there is about to snap. Wapol will see his insubordination as a direct challenge. For my final prediction, Hiriluk is going to make his last stand. He knows he's a dead man walking. He said he would stand with his Jolly Roger to fight every disease. I think Wapol is about to do something that Hiriluk sees as the ultimate sickness of the heart, and he's going to march out there, alone, knowing he won't come back, and raise that cherry blossom flag for all to see. It'll be his final act of defiance, his last attempt to administer a cure to the soul of his nation.
A final, beautiful, and probably fatal gesture. That fits everything we know about him. He's a man who lives and dies by his faith in miracles.
Man, I am not emotionally prepared for the next chapter, but we will be here to break it all down. Until next time, keep sailing.